Alrighty guys, today we have here is a beautiful 2016 Infiniti Q50. And this car is gorgeous. Like, I love the styling of this car. This one comes with a chromed out grille and chrome logos, but this one is blacked out with body match logo, as you guys can see. And it does have blacked out wheels, which are also done by the owner. So here's a good look at this car. I love the body lines on this car. It is just absolutely gorgeous. This is one car that I really like from Infiniti, that they did not mess up the design, because everything else is pretty ugly from Infiniti, but this thing is gorgeous. So here's a good look at that. It does not matter what angle you look at this thing from, it's gorgeous. It has dual exhaust because this is a V6 hybrid, so it is really good at gas mileage and performance. This thing has a kick to it when you drive it because this is a V6 hybrid. So this thing is insane looking and it performs well. So as we enter the driver door, as you guys can see, it has really driver focused switches, which they're all auto, so which is really nice. And as we get in, this thing has tan interior, but the owner prefers black, so he has these black seat covers. I personally think the tan looks better, but whatever owner wants to do. So I'm just borrowing this car to do a review on it. But as you guys can see, it is gorgeous on the inside as well. Here we are on the inside. As you guys can see, this thing is very driver focused. I'm not a big fan of these two screens. One of them just has a constant navigation. This one has your stereo and everything like that, or I think vice versa. We'll turn that on and look at it. But it still has buttons for your climate control, so you're not hitting the buttons on the screen and getting fingerprints all over. So that is one nice feature. And it does have an actual volume knob, so you can control your volume without having to finagle with the screen. And you guys also skip the tracks and everything. So it does have buttons where you can, for everyday use that you'll be using, so you won't get too many fingerprints on the screen. But it still has two screens that you still have to control a lot of stuff from. So you still get a lot of fingerprints on that. And as we come around, you guys can see in the top right corner, it does have both speakers. So that is awesome. So good sound quality. And as we follow down the center console, you get two cup holders. You get your drivetrains. We'll cycle through that once I turn the car on. And this is where you control your navigation from. So it does have a lot of physical buttons, but it does have those two screens that you can also control. And as far as the gauge cluster, it has analog gauges, which are pretty simple. It just has your tachometer, speedometer, and your screen in the middle that shows various information, and your power to EV, because like I said, it is hybrid. So it shows you that when you are driving, how much electric power you're getting versus the engine power. And then over this side, it's just your regular fuel cap. So right now the car is actually running. It's in EV mode. So if I push the throttle, it'll turn the engine on. But if you're just sitting, you can actually drive it on EV for a few miles. So like I said, this just has a compass. You can cycle through that. And right here, our regular gauge cluster. And then over this way, like I was telling you guys, this is navigation. And then this is your screen where you can go through Bluetooth and other sort of things. And on this side, it's also just your defrosters, and this is just on and off for your climate. And like I said, this is physical volume, so which is really nice. And then it does have garage openers right on the mirror, and solid panels right here, just plastic. I wish this was something different, but it does have SOS in case of emergency. And this is just your lights for a door, and it does have a sunroof, so that's for that. And it does come with sunglass holders, so which is a plus. And as we look to the passenger side, it does have two-tone doors, so this just flows right into the dash with black and that tan. I really like that. I'm a huge fan of those ribbed look for leather. I don't know why, but it looks really cool and sporty. And as we come around to the steering wheel, just your basic functions. This is where you can skip channels, and this is just your voice recognition, volume, and phone. Onto this side is just your regular cruise control. And as you guys can see, the engine just kicked in because we were just idling. And here we are. We can skip through the screens over here. Tire pressure, no warnings, range, and engine to energy, coolant temperature, fuel economy. As you guys can see, it is getting great fuel economy for a V6 because it's a hybrid. And then our regular compass. So here's a good look at that. And over here, like I mentioned, these are your drive modes. So you guys can see it can go to eco, standard, sport, or personal, which you can configure. We're just driving in standard, so we'll leave it right there. And now we're on the back seat, and this thing is not very roomy. As I'm sitting here, that's my driving position, and I am touching the seats. And in the middle, you have nothing fancy. It's just your regular vent on and off. And here's a good look. So same thing on the back, as you guys can see, black and tan, but instead of going down, this is going up, and so this is now in tan instead of black. So that's good contrast from front to back. But it is not roomy in here. So as you guys can see, I'm touching my knees and I am touching my head. As you guys can see, I am 6'2", and I am hitting this roof. So it is not super roomy in the back if you're looking for family car, unless you have short people in your family, then I guess. But I'm 6'2", I am hitting the headliner, so that's minus points for Infiniti. As far as rear door goes, it does not have any pockets. You just get your grab handle and your regular control over here. You do not get cup holders in the rear on doors, but you do get them in the middle. And the reason this car doesn't have enough room in the legroom as well as the headroom is because I am sitting on hybrid batteries right now. They are underneath this seat and in the trunk. So here's a good look at the dash. You guys can see it is really beautiful. Infiniti did a good job on designing this car from the exterior and the interior. So here's a good look at that. And it has a full sunroof, which is massive, so that is also a plus. All right, here we are in the trunk. As you guys can see, it is not very roomy. That is because the hybrid batteries are sitting right there. That's why you get less room in the back row as well as the trunk. And here's a good look at that. As you guys can see, it is pretty basic. It does not have any backup sensors or blind spot monitoring. It does have a rear view camera, as you guys can see right there. And here is a good look on coming around. For the tires, this thing has 245/40/19, which is the same size as a BMW 5 Series. And it looks the same size as 5 Series, but it is not roomy enough, because 5 Series is very roomy in the back seat. But this one, like I said, lacks a room because of the hybrid batteries. So now we'll go ahead and open the hood and look under the hood. So you can access that right there, and you can access your trunk from here too, as well as traction control. And here we go under the hood. As you guys can see, it says hybrid right there. Like I've mentioned multiple times, this is a V6 hybrid, so it has dual intake. You guys can see right there in there. And those orange pipes things, those are actually hybrid cables to power the engine as well. So here's a good look at that. And it is a very smooth running engine. I've been driving this car for 2 days now. It's very smooth. I do like the way Infiniti designed this engine and this car. So as far as headlights go, these things are gorgeous. You guys can see it has a daytime running lamp right here, which is an LED, and these crystal looking thing, which is gorgeous. It makes the whole thing look very unique and aggressive and cool. As far as the headlight itself, it is very bright as well. You guys can see it is a halogen and it is white, so which is very bright. And then we come down here, it has these lamps as well, as far as fog lamps. So this you can turn on when the headlights turn on, and this is fog lamps. So like I said, this thing is bright when you turn all of those lights on. So let me just do that right now and show you guys. To do that, you can just simply put it on auto or bring it to on. So we have it turned fully on, so let's go look at that. All right, you guys can see that fog lamp is running, and those halogen lamps, you guys can see it is very bright. And it does have a marker lamp as well, which turns on, which is a US regulation. So they have to have these marks on the side so you can identify that there's a car coming from the side. You can see. So here's a good look at that. And it does have these marker lights in the mirror as well. So when you turn the blinker on, these things do flash, which is also very cool looking. As far as gas goes, this thing only takes premium. So if you're thinking about buying this car, now you know that this thing only takes premium. So you might want to put that into consideration as well. And now we're back inside. And like I said, this thing does have a backup camera. So I'll just show you guys. That pops up on the top screen over there. It is very clear and pretty wide angle view. So you can see a lot with that. And this thing has a lot of visibility as well. So when you're driving, you can see everything. And those are huge side mirrors, so which is a big plus because this thing does not have blind spot monitoring. So that is a huge plus. And as far as the drivability goes, like I mentioned before, this car is very comfortable and it is very good at performance. This thing can get up and go. So if you're looking for a good sporty looking performance and fuel economy, this is the car for you. So if you guys like these videos, please subscribe to my channel so I can keep posting more videos and review more cars and make buying easier for you guys.